Welcome to my Thursday night live. I'm just double checking to make sure everything's going well, and I am going live. I'm still waiting to see. Yep, I am live. So welcome everyone. If you're joining me tonight, this is Thursday, January 18th at 7 p.m. I am April Davis. I'm an independent demonstrator with Stampin Up. And if you're here, please say hello so that I know that you're here. I try to check the comments out periodically just to see who's here and to answer any questions that you might have. But I'm excited that we have another Thursday Night Live. I do have to share with you that the next 2 Thursday nights, I'm actually going to be traveling. I have to go to Maryland for my corporate job, and I'll be there for 2 weeks. And so I've been working hard so that we don't miss the Thursday night lives. I've been working hard to make sure that I get them recorded. So even though I won't be live, you will have me and a recording on Thursday night at 7 o'clock for 2 weeks. So I'm working to get that done. But tonight I'm actually here live. So welcome. Hi, Kara. Good to see you. Thank you for saying hello. I have so many things to talk about tonight. I think I'm going to get started by sharing with you a new club that I have. This is a subscription club. It's called Create Happiness. And basically what I'm doing with this club is I'm doing it every other month. It's totally online. You'll have a tutorial. You'll have recorded videos for every single card. Hi, Mom. Good to see you. And the cards will be just a little bit more, or maybe even more, detailed, and will take you a bit more time than what you would do in just a normal class or with my Thursday night lives. So I just wanted to show you really quickly the class for, or not the class, but the club, Create Happiness Club for March. Enrollment started January 15th. It will end February 11th, and then the kit will ship March 4th. But we're going to be featuring the paper florist dies. Oh, I guess I should share with you. I'm looking at this and I am not sharing it with you. So sorry. We're going to be working on the paper florist dies. And basically what you're going to do is you're going to be making lots of flowers. And so we've got 4 cards that are created. You'll have tutorials and videos for each of those. And then you'll also have a special 6x6 project. So it definitely is more detailed and more involved. In the kit, you're also going to receive a half a pack of our Inked Botanicals Designer Series paper. You'll receive a full bolt of ribbon, and you will also receive a fine tip, precision tip glue bottle. And the glue bottle will definitely come in handy because you've got lots of little pieces to glue. But the fun part, because you're getting extra DSP and you're getting extra ribbon, is that not only can you make the cards that come in the kit, I'm going to include all of the card stock that you need, but you'll be able to make many more cards after that as well. So that's my Create Happiness Club. It's out on my website. I'm going to bring my website up just really quickly, just to kind of remind you guys where to find this information. When you go out to April Davis Creations and you go to clubs and classes, you'll find the to-go class. Tonight is a to-go class. I'll talk about that just a little bit later after we finish. But right underneath that is my Create Happiness Club. And if you click on that, then and scroll down, you'll get all the information that you need for the Create Happiness Club. And remember, it is a subscription club. I invoice you every other month for it. But the cards and the kit, there'll be a special project, but they'll just be a little bit more involved than what you would potentially be doing in a class or even with my to-go kits. So let me come back again just to say hello and talk about the fact that this is a to-go class, which means that the 3 cards that I'm going to show you tonight, you have the option to get the kits for those cards for free. 3 cards, 2 of each card, so you get 6 kits, or 6 sets, if you will. And I'll send this to you for free with a minimum purchase of $40 in my online store. If you place a $50 order in my online store, then you're also going to receive a free pack of the 2023, 2025 in color dots. And you'll see me using these on the cards tonight. So let me go back. I want to start chatting with you about what we're going to be doing tonight. And I want to show you that tonight the cards that we're doing are out of our celebration flyer. The celebration flyer goes through the end of February. If you're not familiar with it, we have a celebration every year, and basically what happens is this flyer has all kinds of free product in it. You see free, free, free all over the place. So when you place an order, it's a $50 order or a $100 order or increments thereof, you can just start shopping for free. Tonight, we are utilizing the softly stippled paper. I have to show you it because it is so pretty. You know, you look at things in the catalog or in a flyer and you're like, yeah, it looks great, but boy, when you see it in person, it really pops out. So the softly stippled, all of the images are stippled, which makes them just makes it gorgeous. And then on the back side of these, you've either got like a water brush kind of design, or I even look at this and kind of a tweed or it's definitely got, it looks like a texture to it. Here's another water brush. Here's more of that tweed, if you will, more water brush. And then this is kind of a woven pattern. But the images on these designer series papers are so pretty. So we're going to be utilizing this tonight. That is free in the celebration flyer. And then we're also going to be utilizing the Softly Sophisticated set. So this is a bundle. It comes as a stamp set, and you also get an embossing folder. And we're going to be utilizing this tonight. The cards tonight are just so pretty. I'm sure you saw pictures, at least on the Facebook post. So let me bring those in to show you a little bit more about what they look like. I'm going to move this out of the way. And the other thing that I forgot to mention, and I'm just going to touch on it for just a quick second, but I don't want to get into the cards before I do, is that we do have a starter kit special. The glass mat that you've seen me working on, this glass mat is the starter kit special. You get the glass mat, you get the silicone tray with the mat, and then you also get the cleaning cloth. And so you have seen me working on this the last few weeks. I'm sold. I'm going to be utilizing all the time. Get used to seeing it. But I did want to let you know that if you're interested in the starter kit, even if it's just because you want the discount and you've got some product on your wish list that you want to get, you can choose the glass mat, or if you're not interested in the glass mat, they will actually add an additional $30 onto your starter kit. So for $99, you get $125 worth of product. You get $125 worth of product of your choice, plus the glass mat, or $125 worth of product, plus an additional $30. So I did want to mention that to you guys just in case. So here we go. We're going to talk about the cards that we're going to make tonight. This is card number 1 in the wild wheat. Then we're going to be doing some water brushing for card number 2. And then we've got card number 3. All of them so pretty. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to pull out the kit for card number 1. We're utilizing the wild wheat cardstock. We've got some of that stippled designer series paper. I have a piece of basic white that we are going to emboss with the Softly Sophisticated embossing folder. I've got a piece of scrap cardstock basic white we're going to be doing some stamping on. And then I've also got a piece of basic white that we're going to stamp our sentiment on. So let's go ahead, and I think the first thing I'm going to do is let's go ahead and get our stamping done first. So I'm going to pull those two pieces out. I'm going to start with the sentiment. The sentiment is in wild wheat. I'm going to stamp "You're in my thoughts," and I'm pretty sure, I think you've got it out. You're in my, here we go, you're in my thoughts. And I am gonna pull out my Stampin' Pierce mat because we are utilizing this Softly Sophisticated stamps are photopolymer stamps, so I don't have a lot of cushion here. So one of the things that I'm gonna note is that I'm gonna actually be putting a flower over my sentiment. And I'm actually going to be die cutting the sentiment out. But what I want to make sure is that I'm stamping my sentiment off to the side instead of in the center, because when I go to die cut it out, I want to make sure I've got plenty enough room so that I can put my flower in. So we're going to start just with making sure that we've got, yep. And I'm just gonna line it up right here. It doesn't have to be perfect because I am gonna be die cutting it out, but I've got this stamped now, so I don't have to worry about it. And when I pull my cut and emboss out, I can do my die cutting and my embossing all at the same time. So we're done with that one. I'm gonna set this off to the side. Now what we're gonna do is we're going to stamp the flower. This flower is two-step stamping. So we've got two pieces. I'm going to show you the first stamp is just the leaves. The second part of the stamp is the flowers, which makes it nice because I can change up the colors. So let's go ahead and we're going to stamp the flowers in this wild weed again. Whoops, did I get, yep, got my thumb in the ink. Let me see. So I got to get it all wiped off. It's just inevitable. I do get ink on me, so I have to watch myself. But I'm gonna get this stamped up, make sure I've got it coated well. I do. And let's go ahead and actually I'm gonna be fussy cutting this out. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that stamped. That looks good. And then I'm going to be utilizing Pool Party as my second color. So I'm gonna pull the Pool Party out and we are going to ink up the flowers that we've got. And again, just making sure I've got a good coating on it. And what I'm gonna do is, I don't know if you can see here, but there's just like this little divot here. That is a bud to the flowers. So that's how I'm gonna start with this. There's a little bud right here. So if I start here to get it lined up, I'm getting a little bit more ink, but if I start here to get it lined up, then I can see there's like little stems here, and I can start to twist and turn my stamp so that it matches up to my stems. So let me do this really quickly, or at least look at it. So right here, I'm just lining it up. And when I'm comfortable with where I've got it lined up, then I'm just gonna stamp it down. And now I have my flowers lined up perfectly for my leaves. So let's go ahead and clean this stamp off. Now all of our stamping is done. The next step for me is to do some fussy cutting. There are no dies with this particular stamp set, so I'm just very, I'm not going to be real precise with this. It's a pretty detailed stamp, so I'm just going to go along the outer edges of it, and then I can utilize it to put on my card. But I'm just going to go just along the outer edges. I'm not going to get really detailed with it. I have to say, while I'm cutting this out, that I was very excited to be able to share with my coworkers that today was a warm 36 degrees. They've been watching the weather. All of my coworkers are on the East Coast, or at least most of them are on the East Coast. And they're not yet getting the weather that we've gotten here. A lot of times if the weather that we get here, they see it coming and they know what to expect. But I never thought that I would be saying that 36 was warm, except for the fact that earlier this week, it was a -5 high. Those of you that live here know what I'm talking about. It was cold. So I was pleased to be able to share that it It was a warm 36 degrees. And honestly, after the frigid -5, 36 did feel warm. So hopefully it's on the back side of us, and we're not going to have to deal with that kind of cold weather again, hopefully. I need some weather to come in to melt all this snow. We got a lot of snow, and not that I don't like snow, but I love it when it's falling, and then after it's fallen and it starts to get dirty, then I'm not really so excited about it. So I need it to warm up some more so we can get rid of this snow. Alrighty, there we go. I fussy cut all the way around. So now what I can do is I can set this off to the side. I'm gonna get rid of my scraps here. And now we're gonna pull out the cut and emboss. I have to use the larger cut and emboss for this particular embossing folder because it's one of the larger embossing folders, and it will not fit in my smaller one. But when I do, probably what I'm gonna do, let me see, do I have my folders here? They're here somewhere. Oh, here they are. Sorry, I had to get up for just a second. I had moved them out of the way because I do have to do some die cutting with this. So with the embossing folder, you're gonna use plate number 1. This is a 3D embossing folder, so I'm gonna pick up my piece of basic white cardstock that I want to emboss. I'm gonna line it up and see if you guys can see. I'm gonna line it up with this line on the embossing folder just to ensure that I get a straight emboss on it. This design does have direction, so I want to be straight with it. So let's go ahead and crank this through. And then what we can do is we can pull our piece of cardstock out, and look how pretty that embossing is. I love that design. So pretty. All right, setting that aside, I'm going to bring up my sentiment that we were utilizing, and I'm going to be using, oh, surprise, surprise, the Stylish Shape dies, my favorite set. And I'm going to line this up. Remember, I'm going to line it up towards the end. Let me see if I can get this into my screen. And I'm going to pull out my tape just to help me out with this a little bit. But we'll get this lined off to the edge. And I'm going to get it straight. Probably right about there. I need to bring in my other plates. So let me pick this up. We're going to put down plate number... Is there a number on this? Well, I know which ones it is. Guess not. They're the clear plates, though. And then I also need this plate number 2. It's just almost kind of like a shim. So let's go ahead and get this cut. Oh, Kara, you're right there with me. When you come Saturday, bring some warmth with you, okay? I'm done with this cold as well, for sure. All right, there we go. We've got our sentiment. So let me put this off to the side, move my scraps, and I'm going to put my die back in here off to the side. Let's move this guy out of the way. And then we can start assembling this first card. All right. So let's take our card base. We're going to fold it in half. I'm going to take my bone folder, and I'm just going to burnish the edge to make sure that it lays flat. And then what we'll do is we've got these 2 pieces that we need to adhere. We've got the designer series paper, and we've got the embossed piece. And what I want to do is I want to make sure that I get it aligned because they're going to go edge to edge, so that I've got the same amount of space on this side as I have on this side. So we're going to start with the designer series paper. I have an idea as to how far over I need it to go. And I did just check my glue earlier, and it was working fine. It might be a little clogged up, unfortunately. Oh, come on, glue. What are you doing? I did just check it. Do I see a needle anywhere? Oh, I don't think I need it. See, it just needed a little bit of help. All right, there we go. So we got our glue on the back of this one. And I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna line it up right along the edge here. Hopefully you guys can see that. Let's see, I wanna make sure that I get it centered top to bottom and side to side. So we've got this one, and then what I'll do is I'll put the glue on the back of the embossed piece. I'm gonna line that up. Okay, double checking, everything looks good. All right, so now we can move on to the sentiment, and we're gonna place the sentiment along the bottom. And I'm not gonna pop it up because I'm gonna pop the flowers up. So we're gonna go ahead and get the sentiment down. And we're gonna center it right in the card, right about down here. Make sure it's even. I always have to pick it up to see if it's even. Okay, we've got that. And then I'm gonna reach over here and I'm gonna grab my dimensionals. Now let me see, I think I'm gonna need to pull out, oh, here we go, we got some. I'm gonna take my flowers. My flowers are gonna go right here. And I'm gonna leave a little bit of room because I'm going to actually put a ribbon on it. So I'm gonna pop my dimensionals up. One here, here, and we'll do one in the middle. So off to the side. Make sure that's down. Pull these off. Put my flowers, excuse me, right about here. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in some of our wild wheat twine, and I'm just going to tie a little bow. I say the last thing I do. I lied. I've got one more thing I want to do after this. We're going to use the dots, but let's get our bow on first. So let me get that tied. Get it twisted down so that it's falling down. The tails are. All right, I'm going to use my ribbon snips to trim that off. And then we're going to take a glue dot, move this off to the side. We'll take a glue dot, put it on the back of this, pull it off, and let me see, I want it to go right about, right under the flowers, I think. So we'll do it there. I'm gonna trim up this little one that's a little bit longer. And the next thing we'll do is we'll bring out the dots. I've been using these a lot. I love them. Let me get my take your pick. The take your pick makes it easy with the putty end of my take your pick to be able to grab a hold of these dots. So I grab a hold of it and then I can just place. I'm gonna place one here. I'm gonna place a larger one, probably right about here. There we go. And then the smaller one, I'm going to a medium-sized one. I'm going to put down here on my sentiment. So those have been taken care of, and now we have completed card number 1. So pretty. I just love this set. I really, really do. All right, so let's move these aside, and we're going to move on to card number 2. Card number 2, we're actually going to do some water coloring, if you will. I mean, as much as you can right here. But before we get to that, well, yeah, you know what? Let's do that first. Let me pull the kit out and I'll explain to you what I'm thinking. So if I pull the kit out, we've got the basic white cardstock, which is going to be our card base. I have a piece of Pool Party cardstock that you can see I've already embossed with the embossing folder. So we're using that same embossing folder, but I've already embossed that for us. Then I've got a piece of Pebbled Path cardstock. I have a piece of Basic Whites cardstock that we're gonna water paint on. And then I also have a piece of cardstock that we're gonna put our sentiment on. So I want to go ahead and I want to do the watercoloring first because I want my cardstock to dry a bit before I actually do the rest of the stamping on it. So we're going to bring this out, and I've got two colors. I've got Pool Party and I have Crumb Cake. We're going to use both of these. And I'm going to introduce you to our water painters. The water painters come in a set of 3, and when you get those, you get a wide brush. Let me see if I can take these off so you can see. You get a wide brush. Trying to make sure you can see it. We're not using that one tonight. You also get a fine point brush. Look how fine that is. Can you see that? A fine point brush. And then you also get a medium tip brush. This is the one that we're going to be utilizing tonight. I probably could use the wide brush, but I wanted to have more brush strokes, and I just didn't feel like I was getting the brush strokes that I wanted. So I'm going to start with our crumb cake. And there's a couple different ways you can do this, but you can see this is how I do it. I mush, is that a word? I mush my stamp set so I have ink in the top of my in my cover. And then there's actually a word, it says push here. I know you guys can't see that, but basically what you're going to be doing is you're going to be pushing to release the water. And I know it's hard for you to see on my mat, but I'm going to be using my glass mat for this water. And basically now that I've got water in my brush, I can blend it along in the top of my excuse me, my ink pad. And then once my brush is filled with water, then what I want to do is I just want to swipe it across my cardstock. So I'm going to put a little bit here, see, about right like this, and I'm going to stop there. That's my ground. I'm going to be using this color again, but I'm not going to use it just yet. But now what I can do is I can clean my brush on my glass mat, and all you do is squeeze your water through and kind of mix it around, and now my brush is clean. So now I can use the Pool Party. So I'm going to do the same thing here. You can see I've mushed in my my lid for Pool Party. My brush is clean, so now I can just smear this around. So I'm going to fill my brush with the ink, and I'm going to do some more swiping. So I'm going to swipe, swipe, swipe. Let me see, I got to get some more ink, more swiping. I think I need to get a little bit more water in there. It's a little dry. Swipe, 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 swipe. And you just swipe enough till you're happy with it. I think I'm good here. And so I'm going to stop. All right, same thing. I'm going to go back in and I'm going to clean my brush out. Now that I've got both my colors down, I want to do some speckling. So I'm going to go back to, in fact, I need to probably smush a bit to get some more ink on my cover. Yep, did good. All right, this time I'm going to need a lot of water. I want to make it fairly thick. Maybe I got a little bit too much water. I don't know. Let me double check this. But basically what I want to do is I'm going to use my bone folder. And what I want to do is I just want to tap on my bone folder. And when I tap on my bone folder, I'm going to get speckles. Can you guys see the speckles? If I go far away, the speckles are smaller. If I go up high or down close, my speckles are bigger. But let me bring this up so you guys can see my speckles. So just adding a little bit of, dimension and technique to it. Now, my paper is really wet. Let me clean off my brush, get all that ink out of there. So getting everything cleaned up on my glass mat that I love. I'm going to close my ink up. I'm going to go ahead, now that my brush is all nice and clean, I'm going to go ahead and replace the cap on my brush, set this off to the side, and then I'm going to pull out my handy dandy rag, and I'm just going to clean up my mess. Okay, and you can see that I'm just trying to make sure I get all my speckles in case I went off my paper. You can see that the cardstock is still It's a little wet, but at least it's not curling up quite as bad as it was. So it's drying. While it is drying, I am going to stamp my sentiment so that we can get it cut. So I'm going to bring it out. One of the stamps in the Softly Sophisticated set is I Really Appreciate You. I'm going to use the Pebbled Path ink. Thanks, Kara. I love you guys commenting. I promise I'll do better trying to look. I get so involved in what I'm doing that I forget to look up. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get that stamped. It's okay. I like it better when I stamp on my Stampin' Pierce mat, because I just feel like it gets a better connection. I got a connection, it's good, but I could tell just as soon as I made the stamp that I wished I'd had my Stampin' Pierce mat under it. It's just personal preference. I know a lot of people who don't utilize the Stampin' Pierce mat when they're stamping with photopolymer stamps. But like I said, it's just personal preference. Okay, so for the die that we're going to be utilizing for this particular sentiment, we are going to use something out of the Something Fancy dies. I believe it's this die right here that I want to utilize, and it is. This set is a fun set, lots of sentiments, and as you look at it, the dies that come with it just basically are for cutting out the sentiments. But you don't have to use them just for these sentiments. You can use them for anything. So I go back and forth all the time. So let's go ahead and get this lined up. I've got my tape that I saved, and I'm going to go ahead and get this centered in here. And then we'll pull out my mini cut and emboss, because this is a smaller piece, and we'll crank that through. So let me pull this out, get my little plates out. Got plate number 1, cutting plate, and then my top plate, and we'll just go ahead and crank this on through. All right, let's pull this off to the side. I'll move this out of the way. I'm careful with it's low-tack adhesive tape that I use. You could use Post-it notes. You can use washi tape, but I'm always really careful when I'm removing it because I just don't want it to catch on the paper and tear the paper. So we've got that. All right, so next step is we are going to stamp on this piece of paper that we have washed, and we're going to be using the Pebbled Path. And we're going to do the 2-step stamping that we did before, except for it's going to be a different set. So we've got this one. Let me bring my piercing mat in. So this is more stems than the other one was. The other one was more leaves. And then because there's more stems, obviously there's more flowers. So I'm going to go ahead and get this one set up first. And I'm just going to, again, just check it out, make sure I've got good coverage on everything. And then I'm going to come up here and I'm going to off to the left. I want to make sure I don't get too far off, but I'm going to go ahead and get that stamped over our color. Clean this off. And then we'll bring the flowers in. I'm going to do the flowers in the same color. This is more of a silhouette because I'm using the darker colors. I want it to be more of a silhouette kind of, I guess, picture, I guess, if you want to call it that. I had ink on that and I didn't want to get it on my cardstock. So again, you can see there's different places that tell me where I need to line this up. So I'm going to move it down just a tad bit more so that I can see a little bit better for this, but I'm getting everything lined up where I believe it needs to go, and then I'm going down. There we go. All right, so we've got that. Get that washed off. Move this ink out of the way. We're not done yet, because now what we're going to do is we're going to bring in our pebbled path twine. So we've got that. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to wrap it around the back of my cardstock. Bring it around to the front. Make sure I've got plenty of twine so that I can tie myself a nice little bow. So I'm just going to cut it off here. Let's move that die out of the way so I don't lose it. All right, so I'm going to come down just below the flowers. I can adjust it here in just a minute, but I'm going to go ahead and I want to show you guys a little trick that I do. You know, it gets challenging trying to tie these bows and make sure you get them in the right place and things don't move. So what I like to do is take, where's my glue dots? I had them here just a second ago. I know there they are. I need my glue dot. I'm going to take one little glue dot. I'm going to put it on the bottom of my take your pick. And I'm going to look to see where I might want my bow to be. And it's going to be over here, right basically at the end of where my leaves have ended. So I'm going to put my glue dot down right here. And then I'm going to take my twine and I'm going to push it down onto that glue dot. Now, look, it's not moving, which is great because now I can tie my bow and I don't have to fight with it to keep it in place. So I'm going to go ahead and tie my bow. There we go. Probably going to do a little bit of twisting and turning on it so that my little tails go the right direction. And I'm going to trim this one off just a little bit. And this one maybe just a tad bit, not a lot. I kind of like my long tails. And now this piece is ready to be mounted to my Pebbled Path cardstock. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to line this up the way that I want it, and I am going to put plenty of glue. Let me line this up a little bit better. So I was looking at the back and it wasn't straight, so I knew that I needed to do that. So I'm going to put some Pebbled Path back here, or Pebbled Path. I'm going to put some glue so that I could adhere it to my Pebbled Path cardstock. So let's go ahead and get that lined up. Do a little bit of moving around. The glue affords me that opportunity so that I can move it around and make sure we have everything secured tightly on it, but more importantly that I have it in the right place. And now that I've got that down, what I will do is I'm going to bring my card base in and my embossed layer, and we're going to fold this over, bone folder, just to burnish the edge so it will lay flat. And then I'm going to put glue on the back of my embossed piece. There we go. Carrie, you're getting so much better at your bows. But I try to share little tips and tricks with you when I can. Oh. All right, now we're going to take this piece and we're going to center it in the center of this embossed layer. I'm putting extra glue on. I don't always use a lot of glue, but I'm putting extra glue on because we're dealing with an embossed layer, and so there's a lot of highs and lows on that layer, and I want to make sure that the cardstock adheres to everything. So let's go ahead and do that. So we've got this piece down now, and now what we can do is we can take some dimensionals and we will put our sentiment down. So let me grab these dimensionals, and I'm just going to do 1, 2, and 3. One on each end, one in the middle, and then I keep forgetting to use my take your pick to take these backs off, but it makes it so nice. All right, so now we're going to go ahead And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to line my sentiment up, the edge of my sentiment up with the edge of my pool party layer. So we're going to do that. So now that's there. I've got that. And the last thing to do, and I actually have to open up a new pack. I brought out another pack because I've used up all my Pebbled Path dots. I've been using the dots a lot, and I don't have any more Pebbled Paths, so I had to get out a new pack. We'll use the Take Your Pick putty end. Let me kind of move that around so it centered in the middle, and we'll just start putting some dots down for the Take Your Pick with the Take Your Pick. So I'm gonna do one here, a medium-sized one. Looks like, hold on, I don't want to get it on the glass mat. And I've got some twine fuzz on it. So we'll put another one here. I'm going to take the littlest one. I got to redo this. My putty is splitting in the middle and I'm not getting a good connection. All right, so we'll pick that one up and I'm going to put it here. And then I've got a couple that I'm going to put down low. So we're going to do, whoops. I think it's time for me to get a new putty. I'm going to show you how to do this on the putty because the putty on the end is getting old. And so it's time for me to get some new putty. So I want to show you, if you have a Take Your Pick, I'm going to pull that old putty off. It's old. And all you have to do is give just a teeny tiny little bit of a twist. See if I can do this so you guys can see. And if you give it a little bit of a twist, it will actually start to grow. And you don't want it to grow too much. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but it is starting to grow. Whoop, let me get in the right window. Starting to grow. So basically what I'm going to do now with that is I'm going to push it down. So I have a new putty end. But teeny tiny little twist, because if you twist it too much, then you will have way more putty than you want. So, okay, this card is done. Look how pretty it is. We did some water painting, we did some speckling, you've got some embossing on it. How pretty. Card number 2. Ready for card number 3? All right, this is card number 3. And we're just gonna be doing stamping, and I've already done some die cutting for us just to kind of speed things up. But if I pull out this kit, we have the cardstock, the basic white cardstock. We're using our Softly Sophisticated Designer Series paper, excuse me, or Softly Stippled, sorry. Then I've got a piece of white cardstock that I die cut. We're gonna be stamping on this piece of cardstock. And then I also have a circle that I cut out of my favorite stamp set, Stylish Shapes, the little circle, and we'll stamp on that. So let's get our stamping done and then we can start to assemble the card. Let me move this out of the way. And I'm gonna bring back in my mat. And we are going to utilize the leaves again that we utilized before. And we're gonna use, excuse me, the Pebbled Path ink and the Pool Party ink. So I'm gonna stamp my leaves in Pebbled Path. So let's go ahead and get that going. Let's get this inked up. I'm just gonna make sure I get a good feel for it. And we're going to put some flowers down here. And then I'm gonna take a little bit more and we're gonna connect it and we're gonna put some flowers. Sorry if I get my head in the way, I'm trying to see. Let me pull it down just a little bit. I'm gonna put some flowers here. Okay, so let me clean this off. Close up my Pebbled Path. And we're gonna pull out the Pool Party. And let me find my flowers. For this one, it's the 3. Okie dokie. And all right, I'm gonna line this up with my little bud. So I know my little bud goes here. So I'm going to look to see where the other stems are. I feel like I need a little bit more. I can look through my stamp and if it just doesn't look dark enough for me, then I'm going to tap it back in. So let me go ahead and get my bud lined up here, get my flowers lined up, and I think I'm good to go here. And then we'll do it one more time. And my bud is over here this time. I kind of twisted this just a little bit. So my bud's over here this time. And I'm getting this lined up. It looks good. We're going to go here. All right, very good. So pretty, so pretty. And it's kind of fun. I mean, not all leaves have to be green, right? Tonight, they are Pebbled Path color. So now we're going to stamp one more thing. I'm going to bring out the Hello There stamp. I'm pretty sure I got it right here. We're going to stamp it in Pebbled Path. So I'll bring that back out again. Tap, tap, tap. I'm going to check it out. Okay. And I'm going to bring my circle down just so that I can see a little bit better. And I'm just going to try to line this up in the center of the circle. There we go. All right. So now we've got all our stamping done. Now we get to assemble. So let's go ahead and move this out of the way. And we're going to bring back in our card base. And again, I'm just going to burnish the edge with the bone folder, just so that I get a nice crisp fold and it lays flatter for me. We're going to take the Designer Series paper and make that our first layer. Get that adhered and get that centered the way that I want it. I kind of feel like my card is, oh, it'll be fine. I'll straighten it out later. I just feel like it didn't fold quite exactly the way that I wanted it to, but it's not a problem. All right, now I'm going to take my next layer, which is the die cut piece, and we're going to center it in the middle of the card. So let me get this centered. These cards, I just have to say, they have been so fun to make. You know, you're making cards, and I make a lot of cards. In fact, I'm going to post a picture probably on Facebook in the next day or two of all the cards that I've been making, because I mentioned that I am going to be traveling, and so I wanted to get a lot of work done before I left so that I could still do Facebook Lives with you. Even though they're recorded Facebook Lives, I could still do them. But when you're making cards, and I know you guys have all experienced it, you're working to get the card made, and then the card's done and you're like, oh my gosh, wow, that card turned out so good. And then I get excited because I'm like, oh good, these are my to-go class cards, and I can't wait to share with you guys what they look like. And you know, it's hard to envision when you're just looking at a stamp set in a catalog, but then you start working with it and it just comes to life. It's so fun. So basically what I did is I took my stamp piece and I put dimensionals on the back. You know, I like my dimensionals. I like it when it's nice and sturdy and stable. So let me go ahead and get this centered in this. There's like little stitches or little dots all around the edges. And so what I'm trying to do is center my piece around all those edges. So now what I'm going to do is, I think this time, because of the way that I stamped, which was different than that I did the first time, I have more room on this side of my card than I do on this side of my card. I don't want to cover that flower up. So I'm just going to do my card differently tonight, and I'm going to put my sentiment on the other side. It's still going to be so pretty. So I'm just going to put a little glue on it. I'm not going to necessarily glue the side that's hanging over. I just need enough to get it to adhere. And then we're going to take more of our Pebbled Path twine. I'm just going to make another little bow with it. And let's get this twisted and turned so that the tails go the right direction. I don't want it to be too big. And it's very curly because it's been on this roll. So it's very, very curly. So let's go ahead and take this. I'm going to do the same thing that I did last time. I'm going to take a glue dot, put it on the back of my ribbon or my bow, the back of the knot, if you will. Pull that off, and then I'm going to place it right underneath my hello there. And I have to do my little dots. So I'm going to get my sentiment. Now that my sentiment's down, I can take my dots, and I'm going to put a dot over here because that's where my open space is now. And I'm going to take the medium dot, and I'm going to place it over here. And I'm going to take my little dot. I don't want to get it on my glass mat. So I can try to use the point of my, trying to figure out where I want it to go. Do I want it to go over here? I want it to go over here. I think I want it to go about right there. All right, very good. So same card, I just did it up a little bit differently. I put my sentiment on the other side instead of the original side that I had it on. But so fun. Look how pretty that card is. And it was so easy to do. Mom, you can make bows just fine. You do a great job. So let me bring all of these cards back in. I had so much fun with these cards. So much fun. And the good news is next week, we're going to use the exact same set again. And I've got 3 more cards that are equally as pretty for next week. Now, remember, I'm going to come back. Now that we've looked at all of that, I'm going to come back and see you guys. Remember, next week is going to be a recorded class. It'll still be on Thursday at 7 o'clock. It's just going to be recorded. It's going to be the same Softly Sophisticated bundle. You're just going to get 3 more cards. And then the following week is going to be a brand new bundle, but it will also be recorded. I shared earlier in the video that I'm going to Maryland for 2 weeks. I've got a couple of conferences that I have to attend while I'm out there. So I've been working really, really hard to get things done for you so that while I'm gone, I'm still here, if that makes any sense. So remember that this is a to-go class. If you like this class, if you like the cards and you want the kit for free, just place an order in my online store and utilize the host code. I have the host code up here for you. Utilize that host code. You'll also find that host code on my website under the to-go classes. But I will send you that kit for free. And remember that if it's a $50 order or more, you're going to get the dots for free. Plus, a $50 or more order will get you a free, you get to go shopping for free in the celebration flyer. So if you don't have the celebration flyer, you can certainly find it online on the Stampin' Up website, and you can download a virtual copy of it, I guess. Is that what we would say? But you can, if you don't have it, you can find it at Stampin' Up, or you can just go to my website and it will take you to my Stampin' Up website, which is different from my April Davies Creations Create Happiness website. But you'll be able to find it. If you have any questions or you run into any problems, just let me know. Anyway, thank you guys for joining me tonight. It's been fun having you here. I love looking up and seeing your comments. And Kara, I will see you on Saturday at my class. I'm really excited that you and Krista are coming. And we're going to be enjoying the Be Mine Suite. So you're going to work with some bumblebees. So that'll be fun. Anyway, thank you guys very much. I'll see you live in a couple of weeks, but come back next Thursday because I will have a video recorded for you. Thanks so much, guys. I'll see you soon. Love you. Bye.